All right, students, so I've been thinking about what we did in class this morning that we didn't get finished. And I decided that instead of trying to finish that, I'm going to talk you through how to create the framework for your assignment. And I think that that will actually help you understand the method of notebooking better than trying to finish up what we did in class. I think the biggest and most important lesson that we learned in class this morning is that notebooking is creating a framework first, and then you go back and read the information. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. So you're going to get your handout that looks like this. It's a couple of pages. And I'm just going to use directly from the book. And if you remember, the reason that you use, one of the reasons you can use notebooking is if you're not allowed to write in the book. All right, so I'm not allowed to write in this book. It's too beautiful. So I'm going to notebook it instead. Notebooking is a very effective way for studying though, and you'll find that when you notebook, you get a lot of information easily in one place. All right, so what were the directions for notebooking? There were 3 things that you need to do before you actually start writing. And those things were: carefully read the assignment instructions, look at the layout of the textbook, and skim the section assigned. Okay, so for your assignment, you need to notebook this section, and then you have to answer the questions written. Answer the questions written. All right, so now that you know what your assignment is, okay, I've got to notebook this, I've got to answer the questions. I want to look at the layout of the textbook. So look at your handout. This book is set up really cool. You'll see there's a D up here, and then they give you the headings. 1, 2, they put the headings on the other side of the page. 3, 4, and then you'll see number 5. Okay? So they're kind of giving you a format for how it should be laid out in your notebook. So you look at it and you go, oh, okay, I see how this is going to work. Looks pretty straightforward. The next thing that you're supposed to do as you're surveying the text is look for bold words, headers, things that are in italics. So as I'm looking through here, okay, I see the title of the section, Great Teachers and Champions of the Faith, Fathers of the Church is bold. In that section, I see like Apostolic Fathers is italicized. I see apologists. I see some saint names that are italicized. I see the section Doctors of the Church. No bolded words, but I do see Greek or Eastern Fathers, Western Fathers, and all this stuff I'm just kind of like holding in my head, like, oh, that might be important. Then I see confessors. No italicized words in that section. I see martyrs. There is a italicized and something in quotations. That might be something that I'm going to need to look at. I look over here, don't see too much else, but I do see the review questions. Always want to read the review questions before I start my framework and before I start reading, because it helps me figure out what I'm going to pay attention to. So if you look on page 69, the review questions: name some apostolic fathers. Number 2, who were the apologists? 3, what are doctors of the church eminent for? Name some doctors. 4, what does martyr mean? How did the martyrs profess their faith? And then 5, relate the life of a martyr. Okay, so you're taking all that information in and you're thinking to yourself, okay, how do I need to organize that? How am I going to organize it? Well, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we know that we need, first of all, to get the date. That's step number 1. So get your date on your piece of paper and then put the name of the section. So we're on D, Great Teachers and Champions of the Faith. So I'm just going to write Great Teachers plus Champions of the Faith. I'm going to just write Champions of Faith. I don't need all the little words. All right, so you can be doing this too. So that's your first step. Now I'm going to leave a blank, leave a section, and I see the first heading is Fathers of the Church. 1, Fathers of the Church. So I'm going to write that down. And I'll show you, I'm not writing every word. I have Fathers of Church. So you'll see I left some space here, and then I went down to Fathers of Church. But that triggers in my mind, wait a minute, wasn't there a question about Fathers of the Church? Name some apostolic fathers. Oh, that's not Fathers of the Church. I must not need it. But now I'm looking for italicized and bold words from this section. Fathers of the Church. Let's see. Oh, apostolic fathers is a word that's italicized. So in my head, I go, I need to write that down. So in this same section, Fathers of the Church, I write down apostolic fathers. And now I go, oh, that's right. That was question number 1. Name some apostolic fathers. So I'm going to put number 1 next to apostolic fathers, and I'm going to just write name some. Okay? Not filling it in right now, just getting ready. All right, next I move on to the next section. Number 2, apologists. And I write that down. So it should look like this. Number 2, apologists. And I'm skimming over it to see if there's any italicized words. I'm seeing some names of people that are italicized, but I don't see any vocabulary words. So I'm not going to write those names down. And then I'm going to go remind myself, I think there was a question related to that. And I look, yep, number 2, who were the apologists? So I'm going to write next to apologists, number 2, who they were. Okay. 3, so you're now on page 67 and you see the 3 is on the right margin, not on the left margin. And you're going to write down doctors of the church. Okay, and you're going to leave some space looking for italicized or bold words. What do we have in this section? I see Greek or Eastern fathers, so I'm going to write that down. And I'm just going to do GK for my abbreviation for Greek. And I'm going to write Greek/Eastern, and they call them fathers. And I'm going to put a slash there again, because they refer to the fathers and the doctors as the same thing. Okay, so this is what I have. Greek, Eastern fathers, doctors. And then what do we have? We have Latin or Western fathers. So I'm just doing Lat, West, and then the same thing, fathers/doctors. All right, it looks like this. And I'm thinking in my head, there might have been some questions about the doctors of the church. Sure enough. Number 3, what are doctors of the church eminent for? Name some doctors. So I'm going to come up here, doctors of the church, and I'm going to write on here, eminent for. Okay? This is where critical reading comes in. Slow down. What does the word eminent mean? Do you know? If you don't know, you need to look it up. All right? Grab a dictionary. Go to dictionary.com as you're watching this and look up the word eminent. While you're doing that, I went over to my notes. I already did that. And what eminent means, hopefully you looked it up and you're not cheating and just waiting for me to tell you what it means. Eminent means known for. So there's my critical reading skill. All right. So doctors of the church, what were they known for? And then it also says name some. All right. Just skimming, I see that the names came. I see that there's going to be some lists. So next to that, I'm going to write name some. Okay. I haven't started reading yet. This is still just all building up the framework. Now I move on to the next section. Number 4, confessors. And I write that down just like this, confessors. And I'm going to look and see, are there any italicized words? Nope, there aren't any italicized words. Was there a question about confessors? Nope. So for that section, I'm just going to be taking notes. It doesn't mean it's not important. It just means that there is nothing else that I need to put in my outline right now. All right, so now I'm done with confessors. I turn the page. Next heading is martyrs. So that's number 5. So I'm going to write number 5, martyrs. And as I peruse the section about martyrs, are there any words that are in quotation marks or italicized? I see witness is italicized, so that must be an important word. I'm going to write witness down in that section. Life is happening around the house right now. And I'm going to look further through. Do I see any other, it's very distracting. I'm having external distractions right now. Are there any other words that need to be written down? Well, I'm just seeing people's names. Nothing that looks like a term that I need to know. So I'm not going to write anything else down in that section. But I am going to refer back to the questions, and it says, whoa, there's 2 questions here. 1, what does martyr mean? And that is number 4. So right next to number 4, right next to number 5, where I have martyrs, I'm going to put number 4, and I'm going to write under it, define. Okay, so my question for number 4 needs a definition of martyrs. And then, how did the martyrs profess their faith? So that is still part of number 4. So then I would write define, and then also write here number 4, how professed faith. And then I'll just leave, a little dash so I can fill that in. All right. Then relate the life of some martyr. So number 5, you're going to write, martyr life. And you'll see in the book that they are telling you about a couple different martyrs. You can just pick one of them and you'll take notes to fill in right there. All right. So that is the first step of notebooking. You have all the information that you need. All right, you've created this beautiful framework, this great outline with the information that you're going to need to fill in. So what your job is to do now or tomorrow is to actually go back and fill that framework in, okay? But for right now, you should have a piece of paper, front and back, that looks just like this. You will bring that to class next week on Tuesday. Of course, when you bring it in, it will be completely filled in, but I'll be able to tell if it doesn't look like this, that you didn't watch the video, okay? So you want it to look like this. If you didn't catch everything I said, re-watch the video. But what we've done is taken what we learned from the notebook handout and reading it, and we applied it now to creating this framework for your assignment. Let me know if you're having any additional problems, and I will be happy to talk you through this. If any of you feel like you want me to videotape how to actually take the notes and fill in, I can do that, but I think that you guys can probably handle that. So this was the first step. You've got your outline and your framework. Next step will be to fill it in. And don't forget that third step is to actually answer the questions on a sheet of paper to be handed in to me next week. God bless you. Good luck.